Morning, everyone, and welcome to the next instalment of the Hub podcast. This is episode 20, and this morning we are talking about back to basics in business. I'm sure you are aware as well, with everything going on in the economic environment, it's a great opportunity to stop, reflect, and go back to basics in business in several areas, whether that be pricing, target audience, your niche. It goes on even to time management. And one of the conversations we've had recently with our guest speaker today, Elaine, is about going back to basics and what that means for her and her customers. So I invited Elaine along to just share her experience and give you a little bit of a different view on going back to basics, but I'm not going to tell you what Elaine does. I am going to hand that over to Elaine today. So good morning. Do you want to just introduce yourself, Elaine, to our listeners and tell everybody what you do?
I'd love to. Thank you so much, Zoe. I'm Elaine Walsh-McGrath, and I've realized one big thing that is really basic, right? And it is that when people refer you and they Google you or do any kind of a search, one of the first things that comes up is your LinkedIn profile. And so what do you do? Okay. And that's what I do. I help people to make sure that when that happens, when that great moment of being referred or recommended happens, that they have a great 5-star LinkedIn profile, and that when someone goes to check them out and see, are they for real? Do they do what everybody is saying out there that they do? Like, are they a brilliant copywriter, or are they a great coach? That actually it says, yes, they are, that they are credible, that they do have authority, and everything around their profile and everything around their content stacks up so that they can actually attract better clients. And that's, in a nutshell, what I do.
It is, and the reason why I asked Elaine to come along and talk about this is because Elaine, I've known you for around about up to 12 months now, meeting online through networking, and she's done just that by going back to basics in her business and niching in this particular area. And we were having a conversation because it's happened just last week that I got a call from somebody within networking who had met me online but had connected with me on LinkedIn and had basically been sat on the fence of what I call perching. So they're interested in what I do, but they don't know if I'm actually legit. So they want to have a look at my profile and see what they think. And the comment was, I'm loving your content on LinkedIn. I think you're the person that I need to help me in my business. Can we have a conversation? That conversation, guys, is happening at 10:30 today. So it does what it says on the tin. And sometimes going back to basics, just in general, and looking at different aspects of your business is super, super important. Whether that's like Elaine and her niching down into this particular area of LinkedIn and what she's done and what she's learned and how that's benefited her customers, or whether it be like pricing, for example, or time management. There's loads of different areas we can go back to basics upon. And also I thought it was quite good when we've talked about lead generation for the previous month to mention the topic of LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is also a great tool for that. And it kind of merges the two topics. And that, again, is one of the main reasons I wanted Elaine to be here today, because I know it's relevant for your business. So what does going back to basics mean for you, Elaine, in terms of your journey over the past 12 months, and how has it been beneficial?
Well, you know what, Zoe, the funny thing is that, and I know this might sound funny because I have really good genes, thanks to my mum, is that I've spent over 50,000 hours in marketing. Okay, I worked in advertising agencies for years. And I don't know whether this resonates with you and your listeners, but quite often we know too much. We have too many ways that we can help people. And for some strange reason, we think that we have to put them all up in the front window, right? Like a shop, like literally putting all the products in the front window. You're like, if that happened, you wouldn't go into the shop, would you? Because it would just look too busy and you wouldn't know what to choose. And to be honest with you, I was kind of suffering from that myself, and sometimes don't they say like the plumber's pipes are an issue, in their own house. I was selling a framework that was too complicated for people to actually understand. So I went back to basics. And I really clearly looked at my messaging and my niche, and I looked at what process I had put into play in my own business and the way that I found clients so easily. And I realized, well, it's LinkedIn, it's networking in LinkedIn. And then I realized I can really help people more deeply if I really simplify my messaging down. And I put one hero product in the shop window so that people can go, yeah, I need help with that. I need help with that. And then I know, just like I'm sure many of your clients know, that you've got lots of tools in your toolbox that you can use, depending on how you work with people, that you can use to help them achieve the success they need when you want, but you don't have to tell everybody about that. And that's how I go back to basics, and that's how I have gone back to basics in my own business, and I am reaping the reward from it. I really am.
And I think that's a great example to provide. And our listeners probably may have heard the term hero product, and how I explain it a little bit differently for a visual is a sweet shop. When you go into a sweet shop or an ice cream parlour, and you can tell I've got a sweet tooth, guys, because I mentioned the sweets, but it's what you know to buy. And the reason you know what to buy is because normally their key products, their best sellers, are normally on the shelf. They're not on the back. They're normally prime centre on the counter, on that little shelf. You can visualize the sweet shop. That's normally where their key products are. I mentioned it the other day in a one-to-one with somebody about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Wonka bar. If you think of that film, where's the Wonka bar? He's not going to the back shelf. He's picking it up in front of him and giving it to the children to see if obviously they've won the golden ticket. So I provided that as an example of, yes, you might have the sweet shop behind you with all the products and services that you offer, but what is it that needs to be prime, front and centre that your customers will buy? Because all of that behind still matters. But by going back to basics, it's not that they need, it's the problem your primary product or service, your hero product or service solves. And it's great to see that by going back to basics and reflecting on that, Elaine, it's done that for you, and it's obviously helping you, and you're reaping the rewards because of that, because nobody likes to be confused, guys. Simple is key. If you want to take anything away from going back to basics, it's about keeping things simple, because if you confuse your audience and they don't understand what you do and what you offer and how you can help them, they will go and buy somewhere else. Remember, 98% of buying decisions happen online first. So with what Elaine does about obviously the LinkedIn, that's crucial, because if you are a B2B audience, which a lot of our listeners are, it's thinking about, right, so go back to basics in my own business like Elaine has, and in my LinkedIn, for example, am I being simple, clean and clear about who I am, what I offer and what I do? So do you have any kind of top tips, Elaine, that you can share for our listeners if they were to do that themselves? So let's take LinkedIn, for example, because I know that's your key area. So what top tips can you give our listeners on how they could potentially go back to basics and do this for themselves? or at least play around with it until the point they need your services?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I think the first thing to remember is, again, bringing it back to basics, Zoe, is be a human on social media, on LinkedIn. Be yourself. Be the host with the most, the hostess with the mostess. You know, create a profile that reflects you. Like we're talking LinkedIn basics, have a nice photo that shows your face. People do business with people, humans.
Yeah.
Okay. And I love AI, but I think the difference between a successful high ticket service provider or coach and someone who isn't as successful is being human and being yourself and connecting deeply with people. So think about your content and how it looks and your title and your about section, and very simply put on your, how shall I put this, your like cynical glasses, okay? Put on your buyer's glasses and go, am I trying to be that like narcissist at the party who's like, hey Zoe, yeah, how are you? Actually, I don't care how you are. I want to tell you all about me. Who wants to be a friend or a colleague or buy from somebody like that? You know, we don't. We love people, and we love if people can help us.
Yeah.
So like you said about like confusion and simplicity, it's just remembering something really simple.
Yeah.
People buy for their own reasons. So nice photo that is clear, not super filtered, that shows you. After all, if I do a Zoom call with you and you look nothing like your photo, I'm going to be like, that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
You know, services or you know, experience that is relevant, that flows nicely and leads people into going, like yours did, Zoe. Oh yeah, she is who she says she is. Like, this is credible. She's got authority. So just look at it, put your cynical glasses on and go, okay, if this wasn't me trying to like sell myself and kind of like being like a robotic CV, like if I just look at it and go, is that human? Is that authentic? And is it relevant for the people that I want to work with? Does it use the language that they use?
Yeah.
They are the really simple things, really basic things that you can do. And that will make your profile so much better.
I agree. And it's a great top tip, because in marketing, and that's how myself and Elaine know each other, we've got background within marketing, and very much so, if you can get somebody that you trust in your network, that's not a client, but not a friend, not a spouse, not a child, somebody that is neutral, go and ask them. Say, have a look at my LinkedIn profile and you tell me what you think I do. And if that feedback is different to how you want to position and represent yourself, or is completely different to actually what you do, then that is something to be mindful for. And we've done this in our business when we ran the events company. The feedback was, you're a networker. And I said, correct, but that's not what I do. So I had to look at my LinkedIn profile and be mindful of the content that I was sharing, and not just to share my clients' events, because even though they were client events, they did appear and position myself as that's all I did. Where actually what I did was the skill set to put that event together when I owned my previous company. And again, I've had to do the same again, be reflective, because I've repositioned my brand and my services, and did my LinkedIn profile represent that? So what Elaine has shared there is, you might think back to basics tip, but actually the basics get forgotten. So 100% do what Elaine has said, review your profile, ask yourself, is it obviously stroking your ego rather than your clients. And how you can do that, if you genuinely don't know, honestly, is asking someone neutral that you trust to ask them their opinion. And you can ask a couple to see if that opinion is across the board. But honestly, it's what we talk about when we say about going back to your why. The more people that can tell you your why, and it's consecutive, so it's consistent with that feedback, you know you're on the money. And it is about representing yourself in the most simplest but transparent way, so you can make sure that you're seen. And 100%, Elaine, one of the main things on a comment basis I get, if someone's not met me before but they've connected with me on LinkedIn, is I know who you are because of your LinkedIn profile. I look the same. I'm always in this colour, whether it's a jacket, a t-shirt, a jumper. I always tend to be in this colour in my nails because it's one of my 3 primary colours. That's why a lot of people see me in black, pink and white. But literally, we're a lady, she said, oh, I know who you are. We're on LinkedIn together. And I hadn't met her yet. And the reason I realised I didn't recognise her is because of her profile.
Yeah.
And not that is a bad thing, but if you want to, in business, be transparent and work with people on a know, like and trust factor, because that's what it is, guys, and it's an extension of your brand, then it's really thinking about the basics. So can you share any success stories, Elaine, whereas you've worked with a client and managed to go back to basics on that LinkedIn profile and the benefit that's had for them, just to give an example of what this can do, how impactful it can be?
Yeah, honestly, so many. So many. And actually, one that really stands out was she is an amazing brand designer. And but she just, even though she is so talented at being like looking at this is the plumber again, at looking at other people's brands and coming up with great solutions for them and designing beautifully. Now we're talking high end. She is a high end designer that she has worked with really big award-winning companies. But she was just underselling herself on her LinkedIn profile. It didn't reflect the pizzazz and the creativity and the sparkle that she actually had. So yeah, she worked with me on the 5-star LinkedIn profile program that I offer. And now that's actually part of my LinkedIn to Leads group program and one-to-one program. But she said like that all the tips I gave her just have brought her so much business that in fact she was only on my masterclass yesterday and said, so sweet, Elaine is brilliant. I got so much engagement from changing my content on LinkedIn and to be more focused on the transformation. And like, you know, that's such a nice comment. And the thing is, Zoe, it is basic, it is simple, but sometimes even the best marketers or brand designers and strategists in the world, they just can't see how the customer sees them, you know, and what the customer needs. And when they do, and they have the tools to know what to share and the actions to take, it just makes life so much easier, you know?
Yeah. It is, and sometimes basics are forgotten. I'll always remember the feedback that I got with my first ever website, and it was Stuart from Yorkshire Powerhouse, and he said, I've got a question for you. I said, yeah, of course, because I was really excited that I launched this new website. And he just said, what does corporate events mean? Again, and I'm going back because a lot of people that I work with now say I've got a lot of applied experience, and it is because I ran another business and it had to, you know, be closed down because of COVID, and I had to reinvent kind of the wheel with my, you know, my existing skill set. So I get it, you know, like the businesses I work with, I've been there. And again, the feedback was, Zoe, what's a corporate event? And I said, well, a corporate event is conferences, exhibitions, webinars, workshops, basically anything to do with a B2B purpose. And he said, why is that not on your website? And I went, okay. And he said, what's a social event? I said, well, a social event is anything to do with birthday parties, christenings, anything to do with a B2C purpose. And he said, again, where's that on your website? Would your ideal client search, I would like to organise a corporate event? Or would they put, I would like to organise a conference? And I was missing a trick because I was too, I wasn't being reflective. I was had my mindset on really early on. I mean, this is the first year of my business. And honestly, by switching it and me thinking about the customer, going back to basics, what would they be searching? What keyword searches for them? What problem can I solve for them? I was then able to transfer my profile, my content. And again, the reason I'm called Ask Zoe is because of that. Because of that experience. And that way it was going back to basics. But again, someone was reflective with me. It did a reflective exercise and it helped me transform my business really early on, which can obviously only imagine how much that saved me in time and money as well. So going back to basics is just super important. Obviously, in the profession that Elaine is with LinkedIn, giving the examples on going back to basics and being simple is key. Having the right fundamentals, obviously image, header, about section, all that good stuff. But it's also about going back to basics in general and being very reflective and asking those that you trust to give you that feedback, because it's a giver's game. If you help, they will help. And it's a full circle and full cycle. And honestly, I get business because I help people. I don't go to sell, I go to help. And again, it's about changing that mindset and going back to basics with that as well. So before we got started, Elaine mentioned that she would be happy to share an absolute amazing tool for the listeners and within the hub for our subscribers. So do you just want to explain a little bit about that, Elaine, in terms of how we can help more people from this podcast episode?
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you, Zoe. I have a LinkedIn to Leads checklist. So I know that quite often people are on LinkedIn, sometimes for ages, honestly, or even going back 10 years, they might revisit LinkedIn and they just see their old clients, their old corporate, maybe suppliers or contacts, and they just feel, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what actions to take now. And like, how do I even find clients here? So I have a checklist. Basically, you can print out if you're old school like me. And it's really simple PDF. It's beautifully designed, of course. And you can literally stick it on your wall and go, okay, have I done these things? Some of them won't even require you to do them again. You just do them once. And some of them will require daily action. So you can literally put it beside your laptop or your computer and look at it and go, did I do that today? And go, tick, okay. And have confidence to know you've taken action in your business to bring clients towards you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share a link with you for that.
Yeah.
And when people register for it, they get the PDF, but also they get a follow-up video of instruction from me with exactly step-by-step how to use it. So, and listen, if you are listening and you're like going, well, that's all very well, but how do I find the LinkedIn to Leads cheat sheet? Then just go and visit my website, Elaine Walsh-McGrath.com, or email me at hello at ElaineWalsh-McGrath.com, and I'll just send you on a copy.
Amazing. And that's a great tool, guys, and this is what it's all about taking action. If you've been listening to my channel for the past 2 years, you know I talk about a goal is just a wish if no action is implemented, and this is another prime example. So I'm really grateful for you offering that, Elaine, and again the link will be shared with myself and put into the Hub subscribers community. If you'd like to know about that and how that can help your business, give us a shout or go to the website at askzoe.co.uk under services, and you'll find the Hub there, which will explain more. But I will also copy the link into the YouTube subscription bio and also Anchor. So again, email Elaine, but do check out the descriptions of the podcast where this is posted, YouTube and Anchor, which has now, I think, called Spotify podcast, I believe. For those that are in podcasting, let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm sure Spotify now own Anchor FM. So it'll all be in there, so you will be able to gain access to it, because trust me, it is gold dust. And if you can go back to basics within your business in this area, I can only predict that it is going to benefit what we talked about last month, which was lead generation, but obviously through the platform that is LinkedIn. So thank you very much, Elaine, for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate it. If you've got any questions or feedback for Elaine on this topic, please do reach out to her on the email mentioned, or you can comment within YouTube if you're a subscriber, or within the Hub community if you are a member, and I will ensure these questions get sent to Elaine so she can come back to you with any further content you may need or support once you've downloaded this checklist, because she's the expert that I would definitely recommend. So thank you for joining. Thanks for joining us for episode 20, guys, and we will see you next time.